So we talked about underrated point guards. It's only natural to move on to the shooting guard position. And the first name is someone who averages over 20 points per game, so you might be like, how the hell is that guy underrated? But I think people, including me, sometimes forget how good CJ McCollum of the Portland Trailblazers really is. From a scoring standpoint, you can make the argument that he's the third best shooting guard in the NBA. Not in terms of being an overall player. I think he's still behind DeMar DeRozan and Jimmy Butler when it comes to overall, but just in terms of putting the ball in the basket, because he's so much better than those two when it comes to three-pointers, you could say that he's number 3 in scoring behind Clay and James Harden. I think the thing with McCollum that's so good, 21 points per game, 45 from the field, and 42% from 3, my goodness. And he also has the ability to put the ball on the floor, so he makes your offense so versatile, being able to hit an open shot, but then at the same time be able to put the ball on the floor and make plays himself. He's also a decent playmaker at 4 per game. And McCollum's only 24 years old, so I think he's definitely going to be getting better, and I could see him being among the top scorers in the NBA for a really long time. And I guess for some reason, like I said, people recognize this dude is good, but I don't think people realize just how good and how valuable CJ McCollum is for an offense. Next up, Chris Middleton of the Milwaukee Bucks, who overall put up 18 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, while shooting 44 from the field and 40% from 3. And with Middleton, defensively, he's really a quality player because he can defend multiple positions, given that he's 6'8". He's bigger than the average shooting guard. And with Middleton, he's interesting in the sense of there was about a 2-month stretch in the season where the Bucks tried to make him like the big-time scorer, averaging over 20 points per game. And he did score around 21 points in those 2 months, but his percentages really dipped. But then the rest of the season, when he was averaging like 17 or 18 points, his percentages were like very good. So I think Middleton, his natural role is probably being like a second or third option, being an extremely efficient 16 to 18 points per game player, which, of course, if that's your best guy, you're not going to be a real contending team. But if that's your second or third best guy, then you're really in business. So I think Chris Middleton is a player that pretty much any team would be happy to have. A very good shooter, shoots over 40% when he's not forced into the big-time scorer role. And I think that's how he's going to be moving forward in his career. Next up, JJ Redick of the Clippers. Can we appreciate how much cooler JJ Redick has gotten as his career has gone along? Like, the hair is nice, the tattoo on the arm, it's all really good, and he's fit in perfectly into the 3-and-D player role. And I think Redick, he's not a natural defensive player. He's not very athletic, he's not very tall, but he works his ass off on defense to the point where he's actually pretty decent, and he does not make as many mistakes as you think he would. And then on the other side of the floor, he might be the third best shooter in the NBA, with his 48% from the field and 48% from 3. That's ridiculous. And the Clippers, they don't really run many plays for him. He's often just very natural at coming off of screens and getting open. And, if they didn't have Redick to provide the floor spacing, Clippers offense would be pretty ugly at times. It still is pretty ugly sometimes, but Redick definitely makes it a lot better. And I think he's pretty much capped out at what he can do here, but I feel like sometimes because Redick's just a shooter, people don't realize how valuable of a player he really is, and sometimes I think they think he just sucks on defense, which, he doesn't. He's pretty okay. And another quality with Redick is he's one of the best guys in the NBA from a physical standpoint. Like, stamina-wise, he never gets tired. He has that Ray Allen factor to him. So if you're defending Redick yourself, you got to work damn hard on defense, and then if you're relied upon to score for your team as well, it can definitely take you out of your game a little bit. Now, our last guy here, don't Google his last name, Evan Fournier of the Magic, who overall last season put up 15 points, 46 from the field, 40 from 3, which is damn good in and of itself. And he started off really strong for Orlando and was a scoring option. Took a step back for about 2 months, but then once the roster was freed up a little bit with Tobias Harris no longer being there, the last 2.5 months of the season, Fournier put up about 18 points, 48% from the field, and about 40% from three. I think Fournier definitely has 20-point scorer potential. In terms of like a playmaking and rebounds and things like that, I don't know what you can ask of him. He might be kind of like a Kevin Martin in the sense of he can put up over 20 a game, but he's not necessarily great in other areas. But who knows? He's only 23, so he has time to improve on those. And I actually think he could develop his playmaking a bit more because Fournier is actually not a bad ball handler. He's already pretty decent at getting his own shot off in one-on-ones. The question is, can he develop that playmaking to where he can, beat guys off the dribble and then kick it out to shooters or dump it off to a big man, things like that. But his ball handling is actually better than you think it is. He's not just a spot shooter. And defensively, he's actually not bad. And I think now that Orlando has shipped out Oladipo, shipped out Tobias Harris, I think Evan Fournier might be up for an all-star bid this coming season, probably as the 12th guy or something, as a big-time scorer for Orlando. I think he has that sort of potential. Oh, and also,